Welcome back to another episode of Scanning the Industry. This week, we are talking women in automotive. And I'm so excited to be joined by Serrell, who is the GM of Otto Cadillac up in New York, and Ms. Krystal Roberts, who's the executive manager of Advantage Chevrolet outside of Chicago. Am I right?
That's correct.
Ladies, thank you so much for being here. I know time is precious, so we'll try to keep this brief and just hit the high points of what everybody wants to know. And I want to jump in with that because every time I see women who are in a higher positions in a dealership, as we know, it is a man-dominated industry. What was your career path to get here? Can we start with you, Meg?
Sure. Yeah. I actually took a different career path than a lot of GMs that come through sales. So I was actually hired as the receptionist 10 years ago. And within 1 month, I was moved to the general office as the title clerk and started to help with the office management. And I became the office manager and the controller and then the GM. And so I took kind of a different path than most in terms of coming through the sales department. But in that, I learned every aspect of the business, right? So I learned the processes, the metrics, the KPIs, the margins, the numbers, and obviously had to ask for the promotions, had to ask for the raises, had to ask for a seat at the table, but was able to do that and work my way up to general manager.
That is so impressive. I don't know. I've never heard of anybody taking that route to the GM's office. Such
Yes,
a
yes,
different
it was a
perspective.
different journey for sure.
That's really cool,
Krystal,
Meg. That's super cool. And
Thank you.
congratulations to you. That's a heck of an accomplishment, something you're really proud of.
Thank you.
That's awesome. So yes, Krystal Roberts, glad to be on the call. So my trajectory in the business is when I finished college, I went to corporate America. And then I said, if I got to work this hard, let me see if I can swing this in the family business. So I got involved in the family business. And my first job out of grad school was filling vending machines. How
fun.
glamorous! You know what it taught me 22 years later? There's not a position in the store that I'm not familiar with. That if somebody says to me, well, you the paint and the detail, or you turned a wrench in this problem, I've worked in those positions and I really wouldn't have it any other way. I have a brother that's also in the business, and my father is extremely hard on us. We have our corporate meetings, and he'll tell them, you all can get your check on the 1st and 15th, but you're not going to mess up my business. So if you can't handle those positions, you're out. And made it clear in front of all the directors, they're not above the rules and regulations of the store. And if my children are ruining business, they will be terminated.
That's tough love.
That's tough love, but I would not have it any other way because in there are not as many as I thought would be second and third and fourth generation car business families, and a lot of times it gets lost on the second generation, and they end up selling out, and they're not interested. So my father wanted to make sure this is something that we really wanted to do, and that when he retires, that his legacy will continue. And we are very invested in the business.
Tell me, you and I spoke offside, so I'm a little ahead of it, but one of the things we discussed was trying to recruit and retain female talent in this industry. It's not easy. Have you done anything since you've been in your positions to try to work on that?
Yes, I'll be happy to start off and then I will go over to Meg. But that's super important. But there weren't a lot of people that looked like us, women in the industry when I started in the late 90s, early 2000s. I'd see the customers or somebody working as a cashier, but there weren't women really in different roles. So, what I like to do is promote from within something very similar to Meg's story. So, I tried to identify, wow, you know what, this young lady who's doing an excellent job in cashiering, maybe we can move her to service advisor or an office position or sales. I also believe in cross training. So all the ladies that are in their different positions have an understanding of the other roles. So if I got three people that call off in service BDC, sales BDC can take over for the day, and vice versa. And giving women opportunities for advancement. And when they see that there is somebody in our role, such as myself and Meg, it's a lot easier for them to say, wow, I'm very interested. I actually go to different industries recruiting women. So I go to like real estate conventions or
Interesting.
different things outside of automotive to recruit women. And for a long time, a part of the problem was, let's be real. Most women, when we're taking care of children, it's our responsibility, right? We have to make sure we're making arrangements
Absolutely.
for childcare and things of that sort. And in automotive, nobody cared if, oh, well, you have to go get your kids from daycare. We don't care. You have to work bell to bell. So there weren't accommodations for individuals that had families and responsibilities to take care of their children. So we had flexibility in scheduling and, hey, well, you can do this part time for sales if your children are coming from school and you need to be there to attend. And then as the kids got older, some of the sales ladies would say, hey, these kids are in high school now. We can do it full time. And they actually are. I have two female salespeople that are top salespeople on the floor. They do 35 cars a month on their own on
Awesome.
just repeat and referral business. So it's been excellent.
She just hit on so many topics that I agree with. This is absolutely a male dominated industry. And when I came in, it was 95% men. And I wanted to see that change. I think we need to normalize women, not only on the sales floor, but in the C suite, and I think that women are underrepresented in this industry. I think that they're underrepresented in top roles. I have taken calls and, of an angry service customer, and they say, oh, I called to speak with the boss or the manager, and I say, excuse me, I am
Mhm.
right? So it's still um, questioned sometimes, but I think that um, hiring women, the cross training, promoting from within, all of that, I think that's great. And I think that women. Some of our skill set, for example, my interpersonal skills or my communication skills, my emotional intelligence, as I like to call it, I think in the past has been looked at as a weakness. And I've tried to use it as a strength, right? There's a time to listen. There's a time to, push. There's a way to earn trust. I think that by sitting down and talking with my employees, and um, asking the right questions and letting them know that we care, right? And building this culture where people want to come in and work for us. Not necessarily that they have to, I think has been really important in this culture that we've built.
I love that. It's interesting because I am on the opposite side of the, car buying business, but I got into it. My dad was a wholesaler, so he bought and sold used cars my whole life, and I thought that was just not the coolest thing, but he had me detailing cars and he was taking me to auctions and I was around the cronies, those tough guys out on the lot. And so when I graduated college, I got a degree in marketing communication. I started doing sales and I started selling advertising to car dealers because it felt like home to me. I wasn't scared to approach the dealership. But again, 95% male dominated. As years went by, I would always have so many people ask me, who should I buy from? Where should I buy? I'm not comfortable car shopping. It
Mhm.
just didn't, and it still doesn't feel really good to a lot of people. So a few years ago, I created a social media account where I do car tours, or what you in the business would probably call a walk around, where I show people the car. And sometimes my kids are getting in and out of it, or we're showing how to get in the third row, or just real practical everyday life. Here's my Costco haul in the back. So that a couple years ago, pandemic time, car shopping changed anyway, I think, in a lot of ways. And people started really looking online for information. So I think the social media videos and that sort of thing fills a hole for car shopping because back to what you said, a female buyer may not feel comfortable going to the dealership to make her second largest purchase and she doesn't see anybody that looks like her
Mhm.
or they can answer those questions because like as Krystal said, as the primary caretaker, there aren't that many people that know how to install a car seat and where it needs to go and how this is going to work with my whole flow on my carpool pickup. So I find that those conversations actually matter.
Absolutely. I have women in each department. There are two advisors, there's one counter lady, there's two in sales, there's four in service and sales BDC, office, every department, F&I, there are women in there.
Mhm.
I don't know
Yeah,
if you
same.
ladies are big social media fans. I spend a lot of time on it, not just posting content, but as a consumer. And one of the things I've seen really evolve in the past year is humanizing the dealership, whether it's dancing or singing. And I know it's polarizing, some people hate it, but it is humanizing. And you kind of think, okay, these are just regular people. And then by a byproduct, there's a car in the background. What do you think about those?
Yeah, I think that's super important because if we're just like, hey, come down and buy a car today, we've got the deal of the day. People scroll right past your video. They're not interested in that. And that's not really what the social media platforms are supposed to be. And you want them to be engaging and have folks in there. We post fun stuff like
Mhm.
we have a costume party for Halloween between
Love
customers and employees, and whoever has the best costume wins a cash prize or toys or something. It's really cool and getting everybody engaging. We have barbecues for the staff and customers, and we'll record that. Just fun things in the community. People want to see more, like you said, of humanizing you, not just, I just want to take my money. I'm buying a car, I'm servicing a car.
Absolutely. I always say, doing a meet this employee, whenever we have pictures of our employees and people with that, those are the posts that get the most engagement.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Mhm.
a different type of technology other than social media, but the buzzword right now around me all the time, I feel like, is AI. And how that affects everything from if you have a salesperson who may be a little weak in the email game, you know what I mean? I feel like AI is a good tool to really brush that up. Are you embracing that next step?
Yeah, AI is all over the auto industry. It's in sales in terms of the pricing tools and predictive analytics telling us, what car is going to sell when. It's in service with, our new UVeye technology and scanning the exterior and the undercarriage of the car and, putting it right in front of a customer's face to show them any issues, right? Full transparency. It's in marketing with targeted advertising and personalized campaigns. It's everywhere. Inventory management, customer experience, BDC. Not only is it in every aspect of doing business, but it's also part of the vehicles now, right? They're computers on wheels, they're driving themselves. There's real-time navigation and Wi-Fi. It's amazing how important AI is in our everyday jobs. Yeah.
Absolutely. To Meg's point, we're trying to work smarter, not harder.
Mhm.
Use the technology that's available to us without a
Have you,
doubt.
when it comes to actual like digital retailing, have you found that customers are responding better to that?
Hmm. I think that AI has helped with capturing what the humans might miss, right? For example, if they're following up on a customer, I might have a customer complaint or they might be dealing with another call. AI is on there every minute of the second trying to get a hold of this customer. So it's almost like having an additional party to help to assist you with your plays. It's like having an extra quarterback in the game.
Work smarter, not harder.
Work smarter, not harder. Everybody needs an extra Brett Favre.
Isn't that the truth?
We had talked briefly yesterday about work-life balance, and I think that in speaking of women in the industry and the um this industry is known for burning employees out, right? They're expected to be there bell to bell,
Yep.
including Saturdays, and that doesn't work for a female a lot of times, like Krystal was saying, that has to pick up her child from school or bring their child to the doctor or stay home when they're sick. And I think, today, I think working with employees, whether male or female, on that work life balance is really important. I especially think millennials today, I think it's so important to them. I think, I've never negotiated vacation time so much as in the last year, because they come in and they don't want to wait 1 year for 1 week of vacation.
Mhm.
They want 3 weeks off the bat because, um, and I can't say I disagree with that,
I
because for
don't
me,
either.
a burnt out employee is not productive, so working, and it's important for me. I'm the general manager, but I also need to have a life outside of here and not get burnt out, because that isn't helpful for anyone.
Meg, we know this. You want to keep your insurance claims down? Work life balance with your staff.
For sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've seen people. I've had two managers heart attacks at their desk.
Yep.
That's not. We're in a totally different generation too. I think with the baby boomers, what they say the balance of the live to work versus work to live,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
right? And our newer generation of working folks are looking for a balance. We're taking better care of our health.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just you think about all the things that make you a part of you. I mean, heart attacks, panic attacks.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have some balance. And you're right. I think a lot of the reasons why women may have shied away from automotive is because of strain it puts on you for your time, for your
Mm-hmm.
family time, your person, all of that. It's a lot of a commitment. And if we're incapable or unwilling to be flexible with work life balance, we're going to be working on our own because we're going
Exactly.
to be able to
Mm-hmm.
attract talent and
Mm-hmm.
quality talent because it's not about financial gain all the time. They want a balance, a peace of mind.
I also think the dealership culture plays a big part into it, because you can sell that all day to the right person who's like, we've got a wonderful position and we're going to give you, balance and all this. But if you get inside the dealership and it's the old school ways, the boys club, or it's just not a supportive environment, the best prospect is still going to leave.
Hmm.
Oh, I know that's a long road to travel, but what kind of things can you do inside the dealership just to kind of move that culture forward into a more inclusive environment?
The huge way is just like we were talking about is having more women that are involved. When it used to just be me and the office manager,
Yeah.
we would hire women, we would hover over them because we knew the old boys club was going to say something that was,
Mhm.
oh my gosh. So we would hover closer, like, guys, don't act brand new. You guys do it at home. You have women around you, kids, family. Let's act like professionals and conduct ourselves as such. On top of that, it would also led to the culture where customers were making complaints, feeling uncomfortable. Hey, I can hear the guys over there making a
Mm-hmm.
very crass joke, and it made myself and my daughter very uncomfortable. So paying attention to even just things that you're hearing at the desk, whether there's a woman there or not, I tell them this is like Disney. When you go to Disneyland, they are always on. As a matter of fact, there are some manufacturers, automotive, that make it mandatory and send you to Disney training. Every time you walk past a puppeteer, they kneel down to be eye level with children to show them the respect. They don't instead of standing over them. It's just like if you're talking to a client, whether it's sales or service, you're standing over them is not showing them respect. So that's a female perspective that the guys didn't have before. And I say you need to sit down and be eye level. Now, if your customer is standing up, no problem. And the second thing, which I feel that women were very intuitive in knowing, men sometimes might have overlooked something like this. And Meg, I'm sure you can attest to this when you're talking about confidential information, it does not need to be in an arena in a crowd around people. And in service, that's especially an issue, right? So the advisor wants to come up. Let me tell you what's wrong with your vehicle in front of 30 other people, but I want you to okay this work. Why would you want that done to you? Or
Mm-hmm.
would you want, hey, could you follow me so we can discuss your private matter? Those are different things I think women bring to the industry that sometimes those things were overlooked in the past.
Absolutely. Um, yeah, and that's what I was saying about the the interpersonal skills, right? Just
Mhm.
being able to walk up to whether it's a female employee or a male employee. How was your weekend? How was the Giants game? That All-Star game last night was crazy. Cute pants, where'd you get them? I mean, just like we were talking about earlier, humanizing ourselves, and again creating that culture where people want to come in and work and don't just feel like they have to, and because people they will work harder and more efficiently if they feel good about who they're working for and where they're working. And, we have created this culture in our dealership where we are family. I have a salesperson retiring next year that has worked with us since the late 80s.
Whoa.
Yes, and it's this, when you join us, this can be your career, this can be your home. And, my sales department, my youngest salesperson came in 2020. We have longevity because we treat our employees well. We do a monthly employee lunch, and we do a raffle, and there's an employee of the month, and we're giving away Saratoga racetrack tickets this month, and just trying to get the employees excited for who they
Mhm.
work for.
I agree. You said it well when you said, Meg, humanizing the
Mhm.
experience. I think that was the intimidation factor for a lot of years. The other thing that I think the emotional intelligence is also talking to people. How do I say this? And Meg probably can relate to this. When we grew up in the business, it was you don't get it right, you're going to get fired. I'm not really motivated to continue to move on
Mhm.
with what you're asking me to do if every time you talk to me, it's I'm threatening for my job instead of saying, here are clear directives that we expect of you. Here's a list of those things that are your expectations. And if you can't meet them, we're going to help you to get to where you need to be. Not, hey, figure it out or you're going to get fired, kiddo.
Right.
That's the way I grew up in the business. Here's an internet department. It's '07. I don't know anything about it, but you can't hang it. We're gonna fire you.
Mhm.
I was super motivated. That's just not. It doesn't work for people like that anymore. Is to give this threat, always threatening for terminations or threatening for demotion. Why don't you find a way to help them win? That's what we're talking about, having emotional intelligence.
Mhm.
What is
Yeah.
that saying? Dangling the carrot or the stick, or I'm so bad with those sayings, but you know what I mean? Like an incentive to do better as opposed to a
Mhm.
threat at you're gonna get fired.
Yeah. Also, I always say we have to inspect what we expect, right? So we establish a process. I can't just hand the process out and then not inspect what I expect, right? So now I need to follow up and make sure that we're following this process and making sure that it's working, not come back 2 months later and scold someone for not succeeding in what they're doing. Because if I put out a process and then the supervisor or myself aren't making sure that everything's going the way it's supposed to, then we can't expect them to succeed, right? And then bring them in and threaten their job. It's on me to manage my managers to make sure that they're managing their employees.
Well said.
What would you say to women who are possibly interested in getting into the business? Is the best path directly into sales where we all think that's where the money is, or would you have different advice?
My opinion on it is whatever you're aspiring to. So you say, you know what, I have a little interest in this or that, or this works better for me. And I'll give you a perfect example. We have an employee that had actually he had sales experience, but was not interested in working in the sales department. And we didn't want to push him. He articulates himself very well, very great with people, but that's not where his passion lies. His passion lies in working with his hands and working on vehicles. Whatever is your passion and where you feel more comfortable in, we don't want to force you into something that you're going to be miserable at, because it's going to show. Customers are going to feel that. Your other staff members are going to feel that. What are you passionate about doing? What do you enjoy doing? So it doesn't have to be sales. It's whatever we try and start them. We don't want to push them too hard. Then once they get in and we see, you know what, you have a great skill set at this, maybe you might consider this down the road. We'll get to that bridge at one point, but you're doing great at this. Positive encouragement.
Absolutely. Going back to my path, I mean, I have my master's in business, and numbers are my forte. So I came in and I was, posting deals and paying bills and accounts payable and accounts receivable, and that kind of led into helping with the financial statement. And so for me, I didn't plan to make it to the general manager, but you know, now I can read the ins and outs of a financial statement, which help me uh, with expense control and, you know, uh, th- being able to read the financial statement helps me every day. And, um, and so again, my path through the receptionist, through the office, to the controller, to general management. I mean, someone can start in any department. And, when you promote from within, we can see the strengths and offer. I had a salesperson who started out of college. It was his first job out of college, and he is very articulate, very detail oriented, and we offered him the F&I position, and he went to F&I and he was excellent at it. But he was feeling burnt out, and he said, I think I was more comfortable in a salesperson position. And so we put him back there, right? Because again, we're not going to force someone to stay in a position that they're not maximizing their potential. And now he's back in sales, and learned a lot in the F&I position, and he's a backup, which is again helpful, cross training. And has used the skills he learned as F&I to help him pitch F&I products up front. And you have to work with people's employees skill set, and um make sure it's a good fit for both.
Definitely. I want to switch gears if we may, but I want to pivot over to advertising and just, getting more customers on the lot. Talk to me about how important image is, and also mentioning things that might make you stand out. I know, Meg, you said, like the special things you do in service with the UVeye and that sort of thing. How much do you put out there to get customers back in the dealership?
I mean, we have what we call the auto advantage. So every customer that purchases a vehicle gets 1 year maintenance and pickup and delivery, access to a loaner or courtesy shuttle, right? So those are some of our retention tools. Um, yeah, utilizing tools like UVI and giving our customers transparency. I always say, the service side of the business has it tough. Sales people, customers are excited to come in and be buying a new car. In service, customers aren't happy, right? So my service advisors, I say they have the hardest job in the business. So having that tool to promote transparency, it takes the sales out of it, right? Someone can drive their car over and see exactly what's wrong with their vehicle. And anything that we can do to build trust from our customers is what we're doing.
I'll tell you, I'm dating myself, but raise your hands, everybody, if you still shop at Kmart. Well, they're no longer in business because we're stuck in the 80s. We're just
Mhm,
talking about those things. So if we're not willing to invest in the
mhm,
technology that's available to us, what's the whole point of customers wanting to come to see you? It's something small. I'll tell you something, a totally different industry. I love to go to brunch. I love the mom and pop places. But I go into those little mom and pop diners and they look like they're from 1985. I'm like, let's see, go Google real quick and see who else is not far from here.
mhm.
Everybody wants the latest amenities and to feel comfortable. And, I look at reviews. People talk about, hey, I got a video from the technician walking around my vehicle. They didn't do that for me at the other store. Wow, I got a video about my vehicle with the UVeye technology. Wow, I've never had that before. They got a Starbucks machine? It's so simple. We finally turned the old school coffee pots to a new coffee. It's the technology.
Yeah,
People love it.
yeah.
People get so excited about the coffee machines.
Yes.
You're making them more comfortable in the store. And
Mhm.
they're
Mhm,
inclined to spend maybe a little bit more and stay a little
mhm,
longer in your store.
mhm. Yeah. Texting, having that, like Crystal just mentioned, that being able to text a video from our technicians and then, here's an estimate of your work. Would you like it done? Yes or no?
Yeah.
They don't even have to take a phone call.
That's everything.
Hmm.
Little bit self-serving question, but I I'm not somebody who would take my husband with me to buy a car or anything else, really. You know what I mean? If I want a car, I'll, come straight over there today to drive the new Vistic. Love it. Um, Probably gonna have my kids in tow. I feel like we're still lagging in that part. Nobody wants to hear screaming kids in the workplace at the dealership. I get it. But sometimes the family is the family, and this is what we're doing here. We got to buy a car. Is there anything dealers can do? I know some people have a little room. Do you have a little room?
So I don't have a little room. We do have coloring books and crayons, and we have tables in our showroom, and we have mothers or fathers with their children all the time. And, I have the best receptionist who just loves to chat with the kids, and we absolutely make kids feel welcome. And the on the flip side of that is we also sometimes have people that are staying with us and they have to work. And so we always provide them a space, an empty office, the conference room for them to do a video call, to pull out their laptop. So we try to accommodate families, working um, customers. Absolutely.
A workspace would be great.
Hmm.
Yeah, so we have a small, you know what? I found an area right underneath the stairs going up to the office. I said, this is a waste of space with all these fake plants in here. So I turned that into the kids' room. So we painted the walls right underneath the stairs, chalk paint.
Oh,
So those kids go
Nice.
to town all over the walls. The chairs are painted in chalk. Everything is painted in chalk paint in there. Got a little TV.
awesome.
And then, something, a small detail that I just realized we're getting estimates on now. I'm actually installing a baby changing station in the men's room.
Love that.
No, that's
Nobody
progressive.
thinks about that until it happens,
Hmm.
right? And a guy
Hmm.
came in and he was like, I'm sorry to bother you. I'm just looking for a staff member. I need to change my 2-year-old real fast.
Hmm.
I had to give him an office, and I'm saying, why don't we have a changing table? We are not going in the men's room. I didn't pay attention to something small like that. So we're getting the changing table in there, and then I'm trying to get like some type of signage to make one of our offices that we're not utilizing, like a nursing space, like covering up the glass and
Hmm.
Yeah.
a nursing station only for the parents that need to just have a private area to feed their kids.
I think that goes a long way. Again, it's about being inclusive and making people feel comfortable. We don't want to have this be the worst couple of hours of your life buying a car.
Absolutely.
You can have a little quiet place to take a call or feed a child, or some people just need a break. It's stress. It can be stressful, even if you're super excited.
Hmm.
Making a large purchase is usually pretty, it makes me sweat.
Yeah.
Good.
Second largest purchase in your life, right?
I sweat when I go to TJ Maxx to spend.
Wow, imagine.
I'm like, oh, I don't think I have it this week. But I get it. And you're right. We need to accommodate them. And a lot of people are doing, like we're doing today, video chat. Our customers are doing video and Zoom
Mhm.
meetings and aren't in the office when they're getting their oil change. So we started putting like sofa chairs in the showroom. on random spaces. So people now have workstations that they're away from the other customers, but they need a little private space, but want to view, just setting different things up for how you want to do them. Sometimes
Mhm.
we have to take our lens off as the employee and see as a customer, like, okay, if I'm here for 2 hours for this service, I still need to have some quiet time of video chat. Where would I like to sit? I don't want to sit in there with 50 people by the TV. Let's make some other spaces.
The price is right.
The price of theirs, but there you have to create the different spaces
It's
for them
true.
to feel comfortable.
Mhm.
Well, kudos to you ladies. It takes, one person at a time, one policy at a time to just start moving the needle in the direction of making it a friendlier industry overall, but a more female friendly industry. And you guys have given me a lot of hope. So I certainly appreciate your time today. I know it's a lot of time for two women who are running businesses, but we appreciate it. It was very enlightening. Tell our watchers, viewers, listeners, whatever, however you're getting your information, if they have a question or they want to get in touch with you, is there an email or something they could use?
Absolutely. For me, it is kroberts@advantagedealer.net. And if they want to call, I don't have a problem with that. Answer any questions. So my phone rings right to me is 708-215-2530.
Absolutely. First initial, last name, M. Serrell, Serrell at OTTOcars.com. That's my email. And my phone number at the store is 518-869-5000. I would love to hear from our viewers.
You're my heroes. Well, stay in touch with me. You can find me at Real Mom Car Tours. I'm all over social media, pretty active on TikTok and Instagram, YouTube, and at realmomcartours.com. So I really appreciate your time, and hopefully we can do this again soon.
That
Thank you
sounds,
so much.
it was really
Thank
nice to
you.
meet both of you ladies. And Meg, that's awesome. And congratulations, man. That's something to really be proud of.
Thanks, Krystal. It was wonderful to meet you.
Yeah, nice meeting you all. You take care.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.